call the cases of Catherine Dietrich, case number 23T00371.
Paul Barnett on behalf of the township.
Your Honor, good morning. Joe Simon on behalf of Ms. Dietrich. Ms. Dietrich, will you please state your name for the record?
Yes, Catherine Dietrich.
Good morning, Ms. Dietrich.
Good morning.
Your Honor, we're here for sentencing. We've reviewed the pre-sentence report. We have no corrections to make to it. I do want to make some comments in support of the recommendation for a non-probationary sentence. Your Honor, my client, well, let me back up. Just give some quick history to support the request. My client the incident was January 14th of 2023. Because it was blood, it didn't ripen and wasn't charged until June of 2023, and our first arraignment pretrial was in July. My client, 6 days after the incident, got screened and assessed at Von Swartz, was recommended for aftercare with early intervention with Ms. Griffin, and immediately completed it. She was on a sober link from the time of her arraignment through today without incident. She had an updated screening and assessment at Von Swartz. All of this supports the language in the and probation's report that my client has really done everything, their words, not mine, everything that the court might order anyway. And she did it with a seriousness and a sense of urgency because, as she states in the assessment, this was a tremendously impactful thing on her. And so we ask for the court to adopt that recommendation. I want to clarify one thing. The recommendation says drug or alcohol test at any time is ordered by the court, and I'm assuming that's in support of ending the sober link. But if it isn't, if my assumption is wrong, I am making that request. There have been no violations, and my client can pay current this week.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Barnett.
Yeah, it is somewhat unusual to have a recommendation as follows, but I understand and I'm aware of the work that Ms. Dietrich has done while the case was pending. So I guess I would leave it this sentence in your discretion.
Thank you. Ms. Dietrich, is there something you would like to say prior to sentencing, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. This was a huge mistake on my part, and I own up to it completely. I have learned my lesson fully, and I have done everything that was instructed for me to do, and I will continue if anything else is required of me. And this is something that I will never do again.
Thank you, Ms. Dietrich. You know, it's rare that we see people begin to do the work so early in the process. And you have shown this court and my probation agent, who is sometimes very difficult to impress, that you meant business about this. She's very good at what she does, and she wants to make sure that she keeps this community safe. And she believes that you're there, which says a lot about the work that you put in. So I trust their recommendations, especially if it comes to having the opportunity to meet with people and see the work that they put in ahead of time, which sometimes I don't get to see. I believe that the recommendation is fair. It's unusual, but I am going to follow it. Okay. Therefore, it is the sentence of this court that you serve 93 days in the Washtenaw County Jail, credit for 1 day served. The balance of that is suspended. So as long as you follow everything else that you're supposed to do, then you never have to look at seeing any additional jail time. You must do 10 days, which is a total of 80 hours of community service. Fines and court costs in this case for a total of $1,295. No use or possession of alcohol, marijuana, illegal drugs, or paraphernalia, and no being in the presence of anyone possessing or using any of those. No use of possession or of any firearm components, ammunition, or other dangerous weapons, and no being in the presence of anyone carrying or using those. You must drug and alcohol test at any time that is ordered by the court, probation, or any police agency. I am going to allow that the sober link be removed at this time, ma'am. And I'm going to do a review in 90 days to see how you're doing with respect to your community service and paying your fines and costs. Okay. That will be on December the 20th, 2023. And that will be at 10 a.m. You still need to contact the probation department so that they can provide you with any documentation that you need to be able to complete the terms of this particular sentence. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor.
I wish you the best of luck, and please remember what you said and what you had to go through this to get here, and hold on to that for the rest of your life. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome, and I'll see you back here. You have the phone number for probation, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Right, thank you. December 20th, 2023 at 10 a.m. ma'am. Take care.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Your
Your
Honor.
Honor.
We'll call the Dustin Braun matter, 18T00700.
Paul Barnett on behalf of the township.
Assistant Public Defender Don Leap on behalf of Mr. Braun. Mr. Braun, could you please unmute and state your name, sir?
Dustin Braun.
Thank you. All right, we are here today for a violation of probation. We've adjourned this matter several times for Mr. Braun to provide the appropriate documentation to the probation department, and it appears that as of the writing of the report on yesterday, it had not been provided to the probation department. I indicated last time that that was my last adjournment for those purposes.
Mr. Honor, and unfortunately, we do not have good news in that area today. Mr. Braun unfortunately lost his living situation at the beginning of last month. He was staying with his mother and her husband. Unfortunately, the relationship between Mr. Braun and his mother's husband deteriorated, that he became concerned that he would become assaultive towards him, and therefore he had to leave the home. He was actually living homeless for a time until he recently was able to use all the money he had in his possession to rent a room, so that he does now have a new stable living situation. Unfortunately, in that process, he also lost his job, and he is currently looking for a new job. So I did explain to Mr. Braun that he is very likely to be looking at some jail time today, but I would ask the court to consider whether what Mr. Braun needs is jail time or whether what he needs is some services to assist him in stabilizing his life to a point where he can finally comply with his probation requirements.
Mr. Barnett?
Your Honor, I'll leave it in your discretion. It appears he's been given ample opportunity to do something and has not followed through.
Thank you. Mr. Braun, you were told last time to begin the 12-step program, and that was the last opportunity you were going to get to do that. I understand you've had some issues in your life. It does not stop you from doing what this court believed were very important services for you. And yet you're here again today without having even begun that program and no proof that you have. Having said that, sir, what would you like to say?
Well, Your Honor, I'd like to begin with saying that I am 100% sorry with everything that I've done up to this point. I know my actions were not where they should have been, and I should have been doing more. Unfortunately, when I lost my living situation, that took a big toll on my mental health, and I kind of started giving up on everything. I felt like no matter how hard I was going to try, it didn't really matter. But I don't want to be the person to give up, so I'm here today to accept whatever. I would like to ask for one more opportunity to do everything I could, and I will promise with every ounce of my being that I will not let you down in that opportunity. But I understand the situation that I am in, and I just leave it up to your discretion. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. I have given you a ton of opportunities to get this together. And that is why we don't wait until the last minute, because we don't know what's going to happen later on in life. And you are supposed to take care of your matters when you have that chance the first time or the second time. In this case, this is the third time that you've, so the first time you were here was on July 5th. And I told you then that I was going to give you 30 days to get in compliance.
Correct.
Because you still weren't. You came back on August 16th and you still weren't. We're back here today on September 20th and you still are not. So at this point in time, this court is going to follow a recommendation for the most part of the probation department. In this particular case, you have completed some of your requirements. So at this point in time, the court is going to revoke your probation. And I'm going to sentence you to 20 days in the Washtenaw County Jail. When can you turn yourself in, sir?
I could get down there by the end of the week.
So Friday at 8 a.m. or Saturday at 8 a.m.?
Saturday would be best.
So that is September 23rd, 2023 at 8 a.m. to begin your 20 days in the Washtenaw County Jail, sir.
I understand.
Fines and costs. I don't think, let's see, did you pay those already?
Paid some of it. I think I paid like 350, maybe 400.
The additional fines and costs will be waived. All right, you need to turn yourself in. If you don't, then a bench warrant will issue for your arrest, sir, okay?
I understand.
Thank you.
You have a good day, Your Honor.
You too.
Maybe so. You know, I have to get I'm a sleeper. I need at least 10 hours. And I didn't get that last night. All right. Yes. You know, my mom would always tell me, Stephanie, you're going to sleep when we were growing up, you're going to sleep your life away. Because you know how young children get up at 6 a.m. and 5 a.m. on the weekend? I would never do that. I would just like, let me sleep. My mom was like, no, you need to eat breakfast. And I would say, I don't need any breakfast. Please don't wake me up.
I love that for you. I love that.
Oh, no, I can get my sleep. All right, Mr. Griffin, I'm going to show you what's entitled Court Admonishments and Defendant's Waivers and Affidavit of Admonitions. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places? Did you understand the state is proceeding on the lesser included offense of terroristic threat? That's a Class B misdemeanor. The range of punishment is up to a $2,000 fine and up to 180 days in the Bexar County Jail.
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court doesn't follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you, and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call and the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by entering this plea bargain agreement, you were giving up those rights?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you, if for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you guilty and sentence you up to 180 days in the Bexar County Jail and up to a $2,000 fine.
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Showing you the plea bargain page, did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
According to the plea, the state is proceeding on terroristic threat. They are asking for a $0 fine. They're recommending deferred adjudication in the anger management course. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
State?
Yes, Your Honor.
Showing you the waiver of appeal paragraph. Did you review that paragraph with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you sign it in both places?
Yes, ma'am.
Next, I'm showing you outside the plea bargain agreement, the state is requesting that your community supervision. There be a TAP evaluation, 60 hours of community service restitution, and no contact with the second. Did you understand that those are recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations? Then to the offense of terroristic threat as a Class B misdemeanor, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Contest.
State any evidence?
Yes, Your Honor. The state offers State's Exhibit 1 and its attachments.
Any objections?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, and state, is the complainant aware of this agreement?
The complainant is not aware of this agreement specifically because we've been unable to reach the complainant over the past couple of days, but the complainant did say for us to use our discretion and handle the case as we see fit.
All right, thank you. You may continue to confer.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Griffin, I'm showing you what's entitled waiver and consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call and the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there'll be no live testimony? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same. All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. However, the court will defer finding of guilt as you've applied for deferred adjudication. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Griffin, how many children do you have?
I have 5.
All right. And are they all with the person who's in the,
No, it's 4 with her and 1 with
and what are their ages?
15, 13, 9, and 7.
Okay, that's only 4 children.
That's with
Oh, okay. And the other one, how old is that one?
he's 6.
All right. Are you employed?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you do?
I work at IFCO warehouse.
Okay. All right. If you're drug tested today, what are the results going to be
Positive
for?
marijuana.
All right. You're going to have to stop smoking marijuana. It's not allowed while you're on probation. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. This is what the court will do. The court will sentence you to 1 year deferred adjudication, 60 hours of community service restitution. I'm going to order parenting classes. Once he completes parenting classes, the 60 hours will be deemed satisfied. There's to be regular reporting by Zoom or in person. I'm going to want him tested for levels. Those levels need to start going down. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Probation, you can just do 1 field visit to see how everything is. If everything is fine, you can discontinue field visits or continue them as you see fit. Proof of employment within 30 days. No employment as a home health care provider with minors. Anger management. Probation, is there anything else? Yeah, we rarely do misdemeanor cases up here, right? All right, is there anything else you need from the court to be successful?
No, ma'am.
All right, I'm showing you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we can go off the record. Mr. Griffin,
Yes, ma'am.
here's the thing. When people have children and they were previously married and that person moves on and they marry someone else and you don't appreciate the way someone's being disciplined, in this case, the taking away of the phone and the PlayStation, just because the stepfather takes that away as punishment, your answer should have been, let me call the child's mother to see why the PlayStation and phone were taken away. I know about people who are from split households or they divorced. Usually the issues that would come up on the civil side is you have someone who's not the child's parent doing physical discipline. This wasn't even a case of somebody doing physical discipline. This was a case of somebody taking away a phone and taking away a PlayStation. And what you should have done was ask your son, why did they take away the phone? Why did they take away the PlayStation? And whether you think that the taking away of the phone or the PlayStation doesn't fit the actions that your son took, the thing is, don't rush over the house. Time when that's said, the thing is to take some deep breaths, call the mother and say, hey, my son called me. He said you all took away his phone and PlayStation. Why are you taking away the phone and PlayStation? Honestly, I don't understand why children have phones, but that's neither here nor there. We didn't have them growing up because they were not invented. If you wanted to call your parent because of discipline, you had to walk down the block and find a payphone, put your quarter in, or either you had to sneak and find a phone in the house to do it. And there were no phones in bedrooms, at least for children when I was growing up. But so that's the proper thing to do, not to go over there and get upset. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You're going to have to learn to co-parent. Now, if somebody's disciplining your child physically, you and her need to talk about that. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, court is calling 2022 CR 7666, State of Texas versus Stephen Ward. If I got to have parties announced for the record for the state,
Brittany Mitchell for the state.
for the defense.
Jay Norton and Nico Hood.
All right, and are you Mr. Ward?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, this is scheduled for trial today. Defense, you filed a motion for continuance?
Yes, sir.
All right. And the court has reviewed the motion for continuance. The court will note that a previous motion for continuance for the defense was granted on August 8th. And motion for, after reviewing defense's motion for continuance is denied.
Judge, there's an additional issue that I understand from Mr. Goss, who is familiar with the case, and that they are still lacking CPS record availability. And I spoke with Brittany.
I think last time we were here, we were just waiting for the order to reach the judge's desk to sign it.
All right, so everyone needs to stop with the waiting for the order to reach the judge's desk. The court has not been presented with any order for CPS records. If the court were presented with orders for CPS records, the court would sign the order for CPS records. So state, do you have the CPS records in your possession?
We do, Your Honor, and I have signed, defense had done a DocuSign and I signed it last week. So I don't know if what we signed ever made it to you, but I do have a secondary one that I can.
All right.
signed today.
Turn it over to the court.
Okay.
Court will sign it. Motion for continuance is denied. All right, thank you.
We'll notify Mr. Goss, Judge.
All right, thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
I guess it is.
All right, court is calling 2023 CR 2763D, State of Texas versus Jose Jared Soto Victorino. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Daniel Escobar for the state of Texas.
Defense?
Megan Enriquez and John Coots for Jose Soto Victorino.
All right, and are you Mr. Soto Victorino?
Yes.
All right, I'm sorry for not rolling my R's. I'm just not able to do that, but I'm working on it. We have the interpreter here. Could you raise your hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm you will faithfully translate from English into Spanish and Spanish into English, so help you God?
I do, Your Honor.
All right, you can lower your hand if you'll state your name for the record.
Cesar Chavez, license number 2203.
All right. Counsel, have you received all the discovery in this case and did you review it with your client?
Yes, Your Honor, I believe we have.
All right, the court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Victorino, all the documents that I'm going to go over with you are in English. Were those documents explained to you in Spanish?
Yes.
All right. And defense, were you able to explain the documents to him in Spanish?
Yes, Your Honor, and the actual paperwork was done through the translator.
All right. And there are no applications?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Victorino, did you review the document entitled True Bill of Indictment with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
Yes, Your Honor.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
Your Honor, we're going with the lesser included offensive camping.
Any objections?
No objection, Your Honor.
Mr. Victorino, did you review the document entitled Court Admonishments and Defendants Waivers and Affidavit of Admonitions with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes.
Did you understand that the state is proceeding on the lesser included offense of kidnapping? That is a third-degree felony. The range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 10 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes.
If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you, and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call, and the right to remain silent?
Yes.
Has anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
No. No.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
No. No.
Defense, would you like to address that issue?
Yes, Your Honor. The court appointed an immigration attorney from the Public Defender's Office. She has met with him, I believe, 3 times. She met with him back in July. She met with him by video visit yesterday. And today she presented him with the Padilla letter that she reviewed with him through the interpreter. He's aware of all of the immigration consequences. We've discussed them at length. I've discussed them with him. I've discussed them with his family. And he's discussed them with the immigration attorney. He understands that after his sentence is complete, he will be transferred to immigration custody and likely be deported. He has no intent to return to the United States. He intends to return to his home country of Mexico, and he has no intent to ever return to the United States, and he understands he won't legally ever be able to do so.
Mr. Soto Victorino, did you hear what your attorney just stated to the court?
Yes.
Did you understand what she has stated to the court?
Yes.
Is what she stated to the court your understanding or your immigration consequences?
Yes.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes.
According to the plea bargain agreement, punishment is to be assessed at 2 years in the prison. There are no applications. The state will take in consideration 2023 CR 2764D. Defense, did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
State, is that the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Soto Victorino, did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes.
And did you understand that the state is proceeding on the lesser included offense of kidnapping?
Yes.
Right. Did you review the paragraph entitled waiver of appeal paragraph with your attorneys? Did you understand it?
Yes.
And did you sign it in both places?
Yes.
Oh, my pen. That's okay. Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes.
Counsel, are there any such motions?
No, Your Honor.
Then to the lesser included offense of kidnapping, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
State any evidence?
State offers State's Exhibit 1 and all attachments.
No objection.
All right, Mr. Soto Victorino, did you review the document entitled waiver and consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call, and the right to remain silent?
Yes.
Court will find that the defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence State's Exhibits 1 and attachments, and the court will review the same. After reviewing State's Exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty and the court will find you guilty. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
No, Your Honor. We just respectfully ask the court to follow the plea bargain agreement that we've reached with the student.
All right, the court will find you guilty of kidnapping, sentence you to 2 years in the prison, give you credit for any time served, take in consideration 2023 CR 2764D, and there's to be no illegal reentry into the United States. Is there anything else with regards to sentencing?
Nothing from the defense, Your Honor.
All right, did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes.
Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes.
And because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand?
No, I don't have any questions.
No, do you understand?
Yes, I do.
All right, we can go off the record. Mr. Victorino, how old are you? 22. All right, Mr. Victorino, let me just tell you something. I read the police report and everything. In this world, you're going to find that you cannot build your happiness, your financial success off someone else's misery. And it appears from reading things, that's what you were doing. You were doing that with people who were hoping to come to the United States, and you were building your happiness off their misery. In this world, I've discovered on my short time on the planet, even though I'm in the twilight of my life, it's still a short time on the planet. Karma does exist. And what you were doing, I don't think you would want somebody to do that to your relatives, would you?
No.
All right. Is your mother still alive?
Yes.
Is your father still alive? Do you love your parents?
I love them.
Oh, do you love them very much? Would you do anything for them?
Yes.
Do they live here or do they live in Mexico?
In Mexico.
How would you like for somebody to take advantage of your mom and dad the way you were taking advantage of people bringing them here? Would you like that?
No.
And see, you know what? If somebody were to do that to your mom and dad, guess what they would be doing? They would be building their happiness of your mother and your father's misery. Life is short for everybody. So do not go through life hurting other people. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right. And do not come back to the United States unless you're back here legally. You understand?
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Your Honor.
Thank you. Thank you.